guys, welcome back. In this video we're making this simple beaded sliding knot bracelet. This design has one sliding knot that slides apart and the beads go the whole way around the bracelet. We're using a selection of Christmas beads today. They just need to have a hole big enough to fit onto your thread. So the thread we're using is a 1mm satin nylon cord, and for this design we need about 60 centimeters of cord. Now we can go ahead and place all our beads on. It's up to you, whatever design you want to use. I've just used these polymer clay beads the whole way around, and then put one silver bead on each end. You might find it helps to cut the end of your cord on an angle so that you can thread that cord through. But you really can use whichever design and beads that you like. Now go ahead and place all of your beads on. I usually bead down to about the same size as my wrist measurement or a little bit bigger. My wrist is about 16 centimeters. I'm beading down to about 18 centimeters. It depends on how tight or loose you want your bracelet to be. You can see here mine is about 18 centimeters of beads in the middle, and just placing my last silver bead on so that my design is even. Now we want our beads sitting in the middle of our cord. So placing the ends together and bringing those beads back down to the middle. Making sure they're sitting evenly in that loop. Now we grab the cord on one side of the beads here and tie a simple overhand knot. Bringing the cord around to form a loop, bringing the end through the loop and pulling that knot down tight onto that spot. Now sliding those beads up against the knot, swapping our bracelet onto the opposite side and doing the same on this end as well. Holding that cord on the side of the beads, bringing the cord around to form a loop, bringing the end through the loop and pulling it down near that spot. Now before we pull it tight, I like to bring the beads around into the bracelet shape. So put it around like this and then pull it tight. We don't want those beads pulled so tight that they sort of want to stay straight. Okay, now you should have your beautiful beaded design section in the middle secured by those two knots. Now we can tie a sliding knot. So we lay the left side cord on top of the right side cord. Now I readjust my left hand to hold it in between my left index finger and thumb. And now we take this top cord down the back and around our finger. And again to the left, down the back and around our finger for 2 full loops around. Now we gently remove the loops off our finger, bending the tail end of our cord around and placing it down both loops. Pulling it out the right hand side and gently pulling this knot down tight. Gently pulling it down so that you can have it sit evenly between the two knots there. This part can be a little bit tricky because you do want to size it, so it can be different for each bracelet. So once you've got your knot in the position where it looks nice and even, then you want to slide your sliding knot apart and try your bracelet on for size. Now you can always untie and retie this knot, so just put it into position and make sure you're happy with the size of it. If you are, then you're ready to tie some stopper knots. I just place one last bead onto each cord as well before I tie my stopper knots, but that's totally optional whether you want a bead on there as well. Then just tie another simple overhand knot, so bringing that cord around to form a loop, bringing the end through the loop and pulling the knots down tight, nice and even on both cords. Then you can cut these tails off just outside the knots and singe with a lighter so they don't fray.